All right. Now let's get another translation just to give you some more clarity on this. We'll show how some other translations of this book also use age.
This is from New English Bible, 1970. 2Esdras chapter 6, verse 8. When will the first age end and the next age begin? He said, the interval will be no bigger than that between Abraham and Abraham, which should be translated Isaac. For Jacob and Esau were his descendants, and Jacob's hand was grasping Esau's heel at the moment of their birth. Esau represents the end of the first age, and Jacob the beginning of the next age.
Now you see how that's explained a little more clear for you, to where Esau represents the end of the first age, because Esau came out of the womb first, but Jacob came afterwards, and Jacob was the heir. Even though Esau came out first, Jacob was the heir and received the inheritance and the promises. So this is allegorical terms here. All right, get that other translation.
This is from the New Revised Standard Version, 1989, verse 9. Now Esau is the end of this age, and Jacob is the beginning of the age that follows. That's verse 9.
Go ahead and read verse 10.
The beginning of the person is the hand, and the end of the person is the heel. Seek for nothing else, Ezra, between the heel and the hand.
All right, so you can clearly see there that the other translations have it, they put it in a way, in a newer form of English that you can understand. But, you know, you might want to just stick with the King James. I know many of you are King James only. So let's go on down. Let's continue on reading in the chapter. Let's go on down to verse 24. 2Esdras 6, verse 24.
At that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies, and the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein, and the springs of the mountains shall stand still, and in 3 hours shall they not run.
Go ahead.
Whosoever remaineth from all these that I have told thee shall escape, and see my salvation at the end of your world.
He said they'll see my salvation at the end of your world. It's the same word, at the end of your age. So we can clearly see this isn't talking about dominions or kingdoms. He told Ezra, your world. All right? Not Esau's world. He didn't say, Esau's going down. He told him your world. All right, let's go. Let's move on to. Let's get some more insight on the symbolism that was used. Now, before we do that, let's continue on throughout the chapter. Let's finish up this chapter. Go on over to verse 38.
This is verse 38. And I said, O ruler, thou spakest from the beginning of the creation, even the first day, and says thus, let heaven and earth be made. And thy word was a perfect work.
Okay, he's speaking of the first day of creation. All right, going down to 41.
This is 41. Upon the second day thou madest the spirit of the firmament, and commandest it to part asunder, and to make a division betwixt the waters, that the one part might go up and the other remain beneath.
So if you keep reading on throughout the chapter, he's going to cover the days of creation. All right, now let's go on up to verse 57. No, 53. Verse 53.
Upon the sixth day thou gavest commandment unto the earth, that before thee it should bring forth beasts, cattle, and creeping things. And after these Adam also, whom thou madest ruler of all thy creatures. Of him come we all, and the people also whom thou hast chosen.
All right, you're going to see how they stopped at the sixth day. That's for a reason. All right, and these are the seventh day is a certain time period. You should know what that represents. But before we get to that, let's read verse 57.
This verse 57. And now, O ruler, behold these heathen, which have ever been reputed as nothing, have begun to be rulers over us and to devour us.
Now, what heathen was he talking about? What time period were we in back then? All right, this was they were in captivity. You know, it was the Babylonian captivity. All right, and they weren't in. Matter of fact, let's get that just in case. So I'm got to prove all things. Give me 2Esdras chapter 3, verse 1.
In the 13th year after the ruin of the city, I was in Babylon, and lay troubled upon my bed, and my thoughts came up over my heart.
Okay. So you know the time period that Ezra was in. All right. And you should understand who was ruling over Israel at that time. All right. This chapter ain't even talking about the Edomites or the Grecians, who you think, you know, that the so-called white man hasn't came on the scene yet as far as a world ruling empire. All right, let's go back to chapter 6 and read verse 58.
But we, thy people, whom thou hast called thy firstborn, thy only begotten, and thy fervent lover, are given into their hands. If the world now be made for our sakes, why do we not possess an inheritance with the world? How long shall this endure?
Yeah. Why don't they possess inheritance with the world? Because they were in captivity. Their land was taken. And he wanted to know, how long is this going to last? How long do we have to keep going through this? When are we going to have our rest? We're up to the 6th day here in this chapter. He wants that rest.
The Sabbath.
Yeah. Give me, let's go to book of Hebrews. Book of Hebrews chapter 4 and get verse 3.
This is Hebrews chapter 4 and verse 3. For we which have believed do enter into rest. And he said, as I have sworn in my wrath, if they shall enter into my rest, although the works were finished from the foundation of the world. See,
and he's even reflecting back here to the foundation of the world. From the first day on throughout the seventh day rest, the Sabbath. Read on.
For he spake in a certain place of the 7th day, on this wise, and mighty one did rest the 7th day from all his works.
Go ahead.
And in this place again, if they shall enter into my rest.
Go ahead.
Seeing therefore it remaineth that some must enter therein, and they to whom it was first preached entered not in because of unbelief.
Okay, so the faith is important when it comes to this. You got to believe that we're going to enter into this rest. All right, let's prove that even further. Let's get Revelation chapter 20. Revelation chapter 20, and you're going to read verse 4.
This is Revelation 20 and 4. And I saw thrones, and they sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Yahshua, and for the word of Yahweh, and which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither had received his mark upon their foreheads or their hands. And they lived and reigned with Messiah 1,000 years.
Yeah, that's that Sabbath. He's going to have our rest in. You know the day that Yahweh was like 1,000 years. We're going to have our rest in. But it's not just going to be for 1,000 years. That's just for a time period. Read the next verse after that.
It says, but the rest of the dead lived not again until the 1,000 years were finished. This is the first resurrection.
Okay? So it doesn't just end with 1,000 years. Now let's go over to Daniel. Daniel chapter 7. Daniel chapter 7, read verse 18.
This is Daniel 7 and 18. But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever.
That's right. So it's going to go on and on forever. That world or that age will not end. Just a reminder, let's go back and get that first definition of age.
This is age, aeon, a period of indefinite duration. The term refers to the past and the future as well as the present. The Hebrew and Greek words occur in various phrases suggesting eternal or everlasting conditions.
Yeah, and that second age, referred to as Jacob, is going to be everlasting.